Okay, so we're going to start. I just wanted to introduce myself first before we began this question and answer Ask Me Anything session with Dr. Saman. I'm going to introduce myself and then I'll have her introduce herself and then we'll take it from there. As many of you know, I'm Ruby and I'm an academic recruiter with Aspen Dental Management. Now, Aspen Dental Management is the management side, the support organization for Aspen Dental. So we're here to support our doctors, our owners, to have them focus on what's most important, which is dentistry and working with patients and all of that. So before we begin, I just want to let you guys know that there's a question and answer little box at the bottom of your screen, and that's going to be how we communicate all of your questions that you may have for Dr. Saman to answer. There is an option to raise your hand, but because we can't speak verbally, just go ahead, ignore that, and still type in the questions and we'll get those answered. If there are any questions you don't want answered, you can indicate that or answered on air or during this webinar, you can indicate that and I'll answer them privately or we'll work through email eventually after this session is over. So, without any further ado, Dr. Natalie Saman, if you could introduce yourself and we'll get this started.
All righty. Hi, I'm Dr. Natalie Saman. I'm originally from Michigan, but I went to dental school in Chicago at Midwestern. I moved back here about 3 years after I was graduated, and I worked for Aspen, obviously, but I actually started with Aspen, so it's the only job I ever had. And then so after 3 years of working with them, I moved here to open up my first practice. And yeah, it's a little bit about me. I don't know how much detail we want to go.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. So just to kick it off, what options did you look into coming out of dental school? Why Aspen in the end?
Well, yeah, I definitely looked at private practice and group practice. And, at the time, I really liked the way that they had a training program basically. So at first I had like 3-4 weeks of training. I went to different offices. I had some mentor doctors. I like the idea that you see multiple patients a day. So for new dentists, it's really good to have a lot of experience seeing different types of patients all the time. And they had treatment planning course. I mean, they had all these courses that really helped. That was one huge thing. You know, I learned through Aspen, I learned Invisalign, and we're learning implants now. And we're hopefully doing Botox soon. And there's like a bunch of these courses that they set up for you. And as a young new dentist, you know, trying to get into CE, and it's expensive. But Aspen, they help you through all of that. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much, I think I met the owner doctor in Chicago, and I really liked the way she talked about in her experience. She was kind of like me now, where she was young when she started, then she used to own practices. Now she owns like 8 or something. But so I just clicked with that. I think the culture, and yeah, I mean, it's not for everybody, but when it clicks and you love it, I mean, it can be amazing. So
definitely, I feel like you've covered a lot of things. So you mentioned treatment plans, CEs. I guess first with treatment plans, did you start with doing your own treatment plans? Did you get to do the procedures you wanted, or was it other doctors? Was it a fight over certain things? Was it ADMI, Aspen Dental Management, telling you what procedures to do and what treatment to do?
Yeah. So nobody ever dictates treatment except for you, which is nice, obviously. When you have a mentor and when you're learning from school, you kind of have all this time to treatment plan. You have like days and stuff, you know. For this, it's not, you know, you kind of just, what we do is in the beginning with my mentor doctor, and I had a mentor for 2 years. And so for a lot of the time, even to this day, I still have treatment plan questions for friends, you know. So you can ask when we have like small groups where we send each other stuff. But basically, you know, you look at the x-rays together with another doctor. In the beginning, when you're treatment planning, you're learning, because everyone has a different plan and ideas for certain things. And when you're fresh out of school, like, it's not easy to just jump in the new patient exam every 40 minutes and know how to treatment plan. Sometimes they're really complex cases. So yes, I treatment plan myself with help of some doctors, depending on if I'm alone at the office or not. the treatment plan, I mean, nobody can tell you what to do. You do what you're comfortable doing. I have a specialist in both of my offices. I have an endodontist and a surgeon. So now I can refer in my office those things, which is really nice. So I don't have to refer outside and I don't have to do things that are too complicated for me. So in that case, yeah, I dictate what I do. Nobody's really sitting there like, okay, you need to do more crowns. Okay, you need to do more of this. You need to do more extractions. Like whatever comes in is what happens. No one's sitting there like, this is basically, it's a private office because it's like a family practice for me. We have the Aspen is the SCAF, like they're the building. They provide us with the, the payroll information, they financial stuff, and they guide us through these hard steps that we don't do. It's hard to do as a dentist. So I can focus on the dentistry and they can help me the business aspect. So it is like a family practice. I do what I want. They kind of help us with, they want you to be open a certain amount of time a week, which is fine. I can change my hours. I have like some days I'm 7 to 3, sometimes I'm 9 to 7, 8 to 2. It just depends on what you want. So everything's flexible, and yeah, so no one's going to tell you what to do. It's all about how comfortable you are. You don't have to do certain things. I mean, it's heavy in extractions, but I'm also really heavy in implants and crowns and Invisalign. It just depends on, I guess, your demographic, but
Yeah. That's actually a perfect transition. Someone just asked, can you choose which CE courses to take, such as implants? Does Aspen pay for it, or does it just depend on the type of CE?
Yes, so it does depend on the type of CE. I probably get an email like a day. It's like, oh, take this endo course or take this CE course online. I don't think I've paid for a course yet. I probably got like 70 hours of CE in 3 years. Invisalign, like you can sign up for it. Basically everyone mostly everyone's trained for Invisalign. They basically want everyone to be trained. And now because of COVID, everything's virtual. It stinks a little bit. I think it will change sooner than later. Implant it's an option. You don't have to do it, but if you're going to provide you in this implant course, it's like courses online. And once you complete the online courses, it's like maybe 40 CE or 50. Then we do an in-person one for a week or two. And I don't know if that one costs money. I don't know yet, but because it was canceled because of the COVID stuff. So I know it's a lot cheaper than going on your own. But they might be setting up something in another country. I don't know the details, but basically I've never paid for anything yet. So that's good. And your owner doctor can pay for you to go to these other CA courses too. So you want to find someone who's going to mentor you and help guide you. And obviously I think a lot of students come out eager to learn more because you learn like this much in dental school. So that's why I love it. And you have this whole thing of support from everywhere. And you have 840 offices, which most of them have 2 doctors. So you have all these people, you get to know them and you get to learn from them. And I have like 50 or 60 mentors now with Aspen. So
Wow.
yeah, it's a lot of support, and the CE, I mean, it's great. A lot of it's online now, but I haven't paid for anything that I know of. So
Yeah. And along with the implant CE, you're right.
You can choose.
Yeah, you get to choose, and then with the implants, they will be eventually, once you pass certain courses and all of that stuff, they'll be sending you to different countries, like you had just said, to improve your skills.
Is like,
Yeah,
I think it's the one. And I believe it does cost money in that account, but I think if you pay it through okay, there's ways to get, to do it. But I think, some of my friends in private practice, there's awesome courses, and you can take anything you want. You don't even have to do Aspen courses. But it makes sense too. And you also can do it with your friends that work for Aspen. You guys can help each other, because it's like a process. When you're doing Invisalign now, it's like, okay, all of us were helping each other how to do this in the tough cases. So it's literally like, not school, because that sounds silly, but it's like a family, and you just kind of help each other. It's nice. It's like group practice, I guess you'd say, but because we have a lot of meetings where we meet a bunch of people from all over the state, and everyone has or all over the country, I'm sorry. Everyone has certain things that can help you, and so you learn a lot.
definitely.
I can't imagine where I would be without all this extra stuff, honestly. Probably wouldn't be doing Invisalign every day.
So you spoke about, coming out of school. Someone asked, how is the transition going from dental school to an actual practicing dentist? You talked about, you learn a little bit, but how was it really coming out of dental school? Any advice for the transition? How did Aspen help or shape you during the new grad phase?
Okay, well, I'll be honest. It was really hard. You know, maybe in your school, regardless if you did 50 crowns or 20 crowns or 3 things, like in dental school, you're in school. Your teachers are there. You know, even if you have confidence, you're still not that confident because you have teachers there. So once you get into the real world, it is scary, honestly. Like you know, there's a training program where we do like about 4 weeks of training. So you get baby steps into it. We actually have a virtual training session as well. But my scenario is different. So I got trained for 3-4 weeks, and then I got thrown into a place because somebody was injured, and they're like, hey, there's no one to cover this office. Can you help them? And I was fresh dentist. Didn't know anything. And I had to take over an entire office for 4 weeks. And I think I cried like every day, but not in like, and it was the best thing I've ever experienced. I think that's why I'm here today, is because I got thrown into something. I had to learn how to do everything on my own. And then I had a mentor for 2 years after that, but I ended up staying with that office because I had such an amazing experience. You learn how to problem solve. You Google things, you call your friends, you send a picture like, hey, look, you know, should I do this? Should I do this? This is the beginning if you're alone. Obviously, it's not fun to be alone, and I don't advise that if you can avoid that. But in my situation, it was scary. You have to really just, you know, you have to focus on the patient. This is a person. I have to take care of them, to do it right. If I didn't feel comfortable, I didn't do it. That's so important. You know, you can't just do something because someone told you to do it. If the doctor's forcing you to do something, you should push yourself. But if it's something like where you might injure somebody, don't do it. You have to be smart about those things, but it's hard. I mean, you're learning, it's a lot of brain work. You're exhausted in the beginning of your career because all you do is think. You're learning every day. Every patient is different. Every tooth is different. So you're constantly learning, and you're working between 7 to 10 hours a day, depends on where you end up working, but it's a lot of work. It's way harder than school, I think. But it's way better than school because you're making a bunch of money and you're helping people every day. And yeah, you're not in school. I'm still going to study after work, which is also nice. You don't have to take work home often unless you're doing CE and stuff. But what was the question?
No, you're good. I need just advice for,
yeah, I mean, it's just prepared, get rest. I mean, enjoy your little break before you have I don't know if everyone's graduating. I don't know there's like a couple people here, but you know, take that time off a little bit, relax. Once you get into the real life, and this is it. It's amazing to make money and pay off loans and to be able to afford things. It's really cool. But and it forces you, I am driven because I want to pay off my debt and I want to be successful and just have I have the passion for dentistry. Not everyone in the world does, but I hope you do, because it makes it 1,000 times easier to enjoy it and just care about the patients and care about the staff. It's fun. I make my work environment really fun with my staff, I hope, and my patients. So that makes it like doable. You know, you don't want to be, the worst feeling is being stuck in it, you're not being comfortable with your people around you every day. It's like your family.
right.
So that's an advice I can give you is, you know, spend time in the place before you're like signing papers and stuff, because that's relationships at work it's really important. It's like your family. You're with them more than you are your families, at least in my case.
Yeah.
So that's huge. You know, you don't want to be around someone who's treating you badly, or you want someone to support you, motivate you, help you. You know, you can hopefully tell, like after a little bit of time getting to know somebody, this is going to be a good working environment for you. That's a big thing, because if you go to work and you hate everybody there, or they don't, you don't feel respected or treated well, like that's not going to be a good lifestyle. So that's huge, to really appreciate, the staff and enjoy being there.
So going along with staff and everything, do you have, or like, obviously now with you being an owner, but when you were an associate or a lead dentist, did you have say in, if there was a new DA position that needed to be filled, or a new front desk, or hygienist?
Yeah, it depends on your situation. If you're an associate and you and the doctor are close, you are there too. I mean, obviously you have a little bit of say. At the end of the day, it's the owner or the manager, the leader, the lead doctor is going to probably make those decisions. But we do have, whenever I interview somebody, we always have everyone meet them. If someone's like, oh, I really get a bad vibe, I mean, we look into that. We're not going to you know, we don't necessarily ask every person, but the doctors, when I worked in associate, I basically, I was one of the ones hiring, but that's because my owner was like, done. He was like, been working for 30 years. He was like, you take care of this. So I got to do that because he didn't care. But it just depends. But yeah, I think it depends on your relationship. But I choose all my teammates, obviously, which is really great because my team's awesome.
That's awesome. That's important.
You're surrounding yourself with people you want to be with every day.
Right.
And it's so important to not surround yourself with people that you don't want to be around.
For sure, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Someone just asked, what made you choose Aspen versus other DSOs or private practice?
Well, you know, Aspen, I had a teacher in dental school who worked for Aspen, and and like most teachers, which I know you guys know, will tell you kind of be drawing you away from corporations, except for this guy and a couple other people would be like, no, I mean, it's great. He's like, I worked there for a while part-time, and the way that they run things and the opportunities they have for you, it's helpful. And I think him, and then knowing other people who work for Aspen and just the way they spoke about it was what drew me in, and the fact that there's offices all over the country. If you ever move, you know, if you ever have a lifestyle change, I mean, there's so many opportunities. I think it's the biggest one right now, I think, between that and Heartland.
Yeah.
But Heartland's different because it's like, you don't know which office is Heartland. So we have this name, which helps us and hurts us sometimes. But you think about private practices, if you take 800 or 900 offices, there's going to be some not so amazing people in those offices. But it doesn't mean corporations do that. It's your office. You should, you know. So I get sad when people say stuff like that, like, oh, if there's one bad office and all Aspens are terrible, and that's definitely not true. That's like saying every Walmart is terrible, or every McDonald's, you have one bad experience, you're never going to go there again. That's not true. You're going to go there again. But it's just, you know, everything's run differently by a certain person. So Aspen I think it's the best because we get that name. You know, I see average of 8 new patients a day. We saw 176 last month. And I know offices all around private ones, and even DSO. I think a DSO closed across the street from me on 13 and Woodburn. I'm pretty sure it just closed. I'm not 1,000%, but you know, having the Aspen name on TV, on the computer, on the phone, I mean, that's getting everyone into the office. This is a brand new practice, and now I'm busier than almost all the other offices in Michigan. They've been open for years. So it's really a great thing to have advertising done for you, especially now. We're one of the only ones that powered through COVID.
Yeah.
So strong. And I can't imagine being a private office during Corona, because they were so helpful. I can't even explain to you how many shipments of masks and all the stuff we could have gotten, and everyone else was suffering. They didn't open until a couple weeks ago even, and they're booked out for 6 months because they're private offices, and that's their capacity. Now I'm getting patients from everywhere, and it's just like a name, it's a brand, it's a team, it's, you know, I can speak about it forever, obviously, but yeah, we're lucky.
Yeah, so that definitely helped you choose.
Oh yeah.
Choose which organization you wanted to be a part of.
Yeah, I didn't even know much about the other ones. I just never heard anything about them, and they weren't. I mean, I know here in Michigan they have more. In Chicago they didn't. But I know plenty of people that work for the other ones, and I've never really heard a lot of great stuff. That's all. I mean, even from the employees. So it's not a bad place to work. I think there's so much opportunity with Aspen, and it just brings in the patient flow. And that's all that, you know, seeing multiple new patients a day because you work for a company that advertises everywhere and everyone knows about it now. So it's good. That's why.
Yeah. We have this huge, you know, call center dedicated to just answering patients' calls. So
thousands of people,
exactly.
Like in a movie, you know, I don't even know how to explain it. It's crazy. It's like a couple, 5-6 stories are in 3 different states, and there's just people answering phones 24/7. And that's why, like, if I leave work at night, come in the morning, there could be 4 new people added to the schedule who are emergencies, and they're usually really thankful. Like, oh, thank you, I had pain last night, I found you online, I'm in today. Like, that's huge.
Right.
They're gonna tell their friends about that, and they're gonna tell their, you know, it's gonna be, it's a good marketing tactic.
Definitely, and it's rare to hear something like that. So it's really comforting for patients as well as, you know, our doctors and you know, seeing their patients and everything. So yeah, so again, we have that huge call center, we have a huge marketing team, we have a whole avenue and plethora of access to things. We have um, just the whole ADMI side. That is our job, is to be it for the actual Aspen Dental offices, find patients, fill schedules, or the academic team, work with students, doctors. But yeah, there's just so much access, so much support that is given when you work at an Aspen Dental office, as Dr. Saman was saying. So it's a
Mhm.
really good uh, organization to be part of. Um, so someone just asked, could you explain what being an owner involves? How is it different from being an associate or a lead? How did you work your way up to that position?
Okay. So, you know, when you start out as a new grad, you're obviously going to end up most likely starting out as an associate. It is really, sometimes they move to the next position soon, but I think it's important to have a mentor for a certain amount of time. Um, anyway, so you start out there, and that's just, you know, basically doing procedures and getting used to the flow of things, getting comfortable with your time management, and then you move to the next step. You know, me, it took, I think it was 6 months, went to the, what's it called, the MCD, Managing Clinical Director, which just means that you're doing new patients and you're doing overflow and you're managing the schedule. You have like 7 people at a time and you know how to get to each room, and not at the same time doing procedures, but like, you know, a little step, denture step, and then a new patient, and then a filling, and then extraction, and then a new patient. There's like a flow. Once you manage it, once you start to being able to manage it, that's your managing clinical director. And between associate and managing director, there's a pay difference. Let's say an average daily, you know, could be $500, $600, but then at an associate, you'll get a bonus, a certain amount of bonus, like an average. I don't know the average. My office was abnormal because we did really well. So associate bonus can be between maybe $200 and $14,000. It depends on how well your office is doing. Versus the associate MCD can make between, I guess, $2,000 and $20,000. You know, I would say associates probably wouldn't make $14,000 bonus, but as an MCD, you can make an insane. You can make 300 easy, you know, a year if you are, and that's just MCD, and that's basically just being the lead doctor and running the show. And the owner owns the office. Depends. If you work at the office as an owner, then you are the MCD, I guess you'd say. The difference in the practices, I mean, you get to call the shots, basically. You create your team, you decide what type of, you know, in my office, are we doing specialty, or am I sending that out? You hire, I mean, you plan, you decide who you want to work there. You basically, you partner into the office. So if this was a private office, it would say 2 people, me and Aspen, and you put 50-50 in and you run it together. So you're splitting profits, but with Aspen, the profits are so large that the profits, and even though it's a partnership, people in private practice are like, how are you doing this if you're giving them this portion of your money? But at the end of the day, it works out and it's very profitable. It's a lot of work. That's why it's nice to have help, like an associate or MCD, to like split the rush and everything like that. But the owner will make a profit at the end of the month. So that becomes another level up from the MCD. So I explain that right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
How did I get there? Well, I asked for it a lot, and I felt really comfortable and confident running my own office. And I just had a really good experience. I think I was all luck. I got like shoved in a situation, and we turned around an office that was like the worst in the company for 10 years. The CEO would talk about it as like the worst company in the office for 10 years. They couldn't hold a doctor. They couldn't hold it. It was just like negative revenue forever. And then the other doctor came in and started making it a little bit better. Then I came in together as a team. We just flipped a switch, and we won that. There was they do contests. So we won a contest, and that's where I got recognized as like, who's this person helping this office? And then just being in touch with the leaders, and just, you know, seeing them at events and talking about it and being interested. And And then I was sick of driving 2 hours every day. And then I was like, I really want to work for Aspen, but I want my own office. And it doesn't always work out like that. It takes time. It was a year and a half of the making. So it took time and I had to move. I couldn't do it in the location I wanted, which was downtown Chicago, because there's other owners. Like there's a territorial thing, but people are getting, people will be selling offices. So there's like opportunity everywhere, and Aspen opens an office every 5 days.
Yep.
Maybe it changed after COVID, but it's pretty big opportunity. And it was scary, to be honest, to open a new office by myself. And now it's like doing really well. So I'm happy about it. It's definitely a lot of work, but it's my life. And then I like to work hard. I want to pay off my loans. I have my goal is 2 to 3 years, pay off my business debt and my loan debt. And then after that, I can relax a little more. But it's ownership is definitely, it's harder because there's like a little more stress, but and even COVID, that was scary because you have real responsibility for all these employees. So that was stressful because it was new. The business was new, and then pandemic. Like no one knows what to do during a pandemic. But with Aspen, we had calls twice. It was amazing how much they taught it and told us what to do, and they helped us with all the loans and stuff like that. Something else I was going to say about that, a new office or opening an office. Just having ownership is like literally having your own practice. I decided my hours. It's nice because you have this beautiful building that they created for you, and they have all the instruments. They get not cheap things, but you can get the best products for discounts, which is, I think that's a huge thing because our overhead in dentistry is so expensive. And that's where other offices and private offices get nicked on, is like the overhead is pretty ridiculous. So with Aspen, it's a good product. I just hired a private office assistant, and she goes, wow, you get Henry Schein products? They're always too expensive. I was like, that's what we get every day. So, there's a lot of perks about that. But being an MC, people never want to be an owner, and you can do amazing as an MCD. It's basically everything but the responsibility. If the office does bad, you don't really get negatively affected. That's what the owner will get negatively affected, because we have to, pay for everything. But in my experience, I've never had a negative office. I've never been around a negative office, but it definitely can happen, especially during a pandemic. That was pretty ridiculous, but I think we were literally one of the only ones that powered through how we did. We came up on top. Like we had more calls than ever. We're like going, and it like actually helped us, which is kind of strange. It obviously was sad, and we're pushed back with people that weren't able to see us, but now people are like, oh, look, I should do this before another pandemic happens or something like that. So
right.
It's been a little bit good for us, and I hate to say that because it's scary and sad and terrible, but we've the way that Aspen handled it, because we are privately, all the owners have private offices, so we were able to apply for those loans, and we all got so much help, and it was all forgiven, like cross our fingers, but like it's really cool how that worked out.
Right. So like Dr. Simon said, like a majority of Aspen dental offices are owned by doctors. They're owned by people like you. So, again, it's managed by doctors. You're working with doctors, with treatment plans, with everything. You're working with your colleagues. And like she talked about, still ADMI, Aspen Dental Management, is here to support you. So like during COVID with the PPE, we're the second largest purchaser of PPE next to the US government. So that's huge, and it's almost unheard of, but it's because Aspen Dental has such a great network and that ability to do so. So yeah, it's a great organization. So I just had a question regarding residency. This is from the student, should I go into residency? Do you feel like Aspen gave you enough support to not go into residency?
Okay, I can explain. So I think residency could teach you a lot of skills, obviously. If you have a good mentor doctor, maybe that would be just as helpful. I had a friend that came out of residency, and I swear it's like he didn't even go. Just because I think that he was constantly with someone to support him. He never really got that confidence. I think it's amazing. And if you want to learn something like surgery, or, if you want to learn more, you can definitely go to residency. I think this was my mini residency. but would I have been beneficial to like learn a couple different things? I mean, I do my own CE, and I guess you could do your CE instead of residency and then work and make a lot of money and start paying off your loans, then going to residency, adding more debt, or, you know, making a certain thing. That's how I feel. I mean, we got a little screwed, I think, on the whole dental school fees, or, you know, it's insanely ridiculously expensive. So I felt like I needed to come out and just start paying. So, but I think that if you have a interest in something that residency can teach you more of, great, that's a good idea if you want to. I loved my experience, and I felt like my friend who was the residency didn't come out. I thought he'd be like out and ready to go, and it was like I had to train him. And now he's amazing. He's running a huge Aspen practice and doing really, really well. But it took, you know, another 6 months, which is how much it took me. So that's why it depends on the program. It depends on what you're interested in. You can learn a lot. You can be more confident, but you can also do these things and work for a husband, in my opinion, especially if you had a doctor to train you. So that's how I feel. But I also got really lucky with my experience. But I did call my mini residency that made money.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yeah, I did extractions all day. It's like you are learning, but you just make a little bit more, and you get your life started. You know, residency, it's still slow. Like, you don't see that many patients a day. I'm pretty sure it's pretty like slow compared to real life. It just depends. If you're not comfortable, then don't jump back into dentistry. You can start with a mentor and go slowly. That's how I think I would do. If I were to do it again, I would do what I did again. I wouldn't change anything. I guess that's a good answer.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, we tend to tell people it's like a mini residency, and
Yeah,
it's a lot.
it is.
A lot of our owners say that, just like you're saying that.
Yeah, I joke with my friends about it, because like a lot of them went to residency. I was like, well,
yeah.
And I don't know if you make money in residency.
I think you
pay for it, or maybe it's like $30,000 or something.
Yeah, it's minimal.
It's not even really enough to, like, I mean, I guess you don't have to pay your loans that year. I don't remember how it works, but you know, if anyone else comes out with what we were coming out with, I'm assuming most of you are, if unless you're lucky, but it's just, I got eager to start life, you know. And there's so many CE, there's so much to learn out there that you don't need to be it all day in a residency program to learn it. That's how I see it.
No, that's great. That's really great. Now, when it comes to you and associates, I just had the question asked of what do you look for when you're interviewing an associate?
Oh, I like this question. My few most important things, and I just hired one today actually, so I'm excited about it. It's first day. Personality. I know it sounds, somebody who is empathetic, it's huge to me. Friendly, kind, just has a little bit of like that, you know, where a patient would sit down and when the person starts talking, they'd comfort them. That's huge, I think. Whether it's fake or not, I mean, there has to be a way to turn that on. Patients, the biggest thing for success in dentists is treating patients a certain way and making them comfortable, because it doesn't matter anything. They hate you already. And I tell you that every day. You'll hear that, I hate you, by the way. And it's really gets annoying. It isn't gonna, you're used to it, but you get a good answer and come up with some funny joke or something. But treating people, like having someone that can treat people well, and just they're comforting and empathetic, like I said, someone who wants to learn, doesn't think that they're like the smartest person in the world, because I don't think you'd be surprised. I'm sure all of you have classmates who thinks that they're like the best dentist already when they're like not even a dentist yet. And someone who just knows, like, I have, you know, I'm good at certain things. I know I have a lot to learn. Let me ask questions. I like someone who asks questions. I mean, believe it or not, I had some new dentists who never asked me a dang question. And I think I ask questions now. My other doctor asks questions. They work for 10 years. I mean, that just shows you want to learn the right way, and you have, you don't think you're better than anyone. So I like that someone's eager to learn, because it shows that they are coachable and they're excited. And I like passion. I don't think dentistry is a good job if you just do the motions and don't care about it. I think it's the worst job ever if you hate it, because it's not fun if you don't like doing it. because it's a hard work, physical labor. You have to constantly deal with people's emotions and they're in pain and there's a lot going on. So to enjoy taking care of people and helping is a huge thing for me. So a couple of those things, you know, like personality, the way, the body language, like if they're, like I said, kind, want to learn. What was the other one I said?
Good with patients.
Good with patients.
Yeah.
Um,
Ask questions.
respect, you know, treats the team well. So a huge thing for me too is the doctor's not coming in yelling at assistants, telling them like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like I treat my assistants like I treat any doctor, with respect. Because trust me, the patients will know if you think you're better than them, and even patients will act that way, and it's just not right. You're not better than anyone just because you're the owner of the dentist. You're going to treat them with respect, and you're going to, because you want them to like working there, and if they feel belittled or whatever, then they're not going to enjoy it. So I like to see how they treat other people, because sometimes new dentists will come in acting all, you know, rude. Just, I have more, I'm the dentist, you do this, instead of like, hey, do you mind help? Like, you know, you have to be kind to people. I mean,
definitely.
So,
Especially like you said earlier, you know, it's a whole family environment. You're going to be around each other all the time. So that level of respect is important. Going along with what we had previously talked about when you first transition and the advice for students, was it hard to get used to treating so many patients? And, you know, with so many, can you really get to know them?
Oh, for sure. I like still think about all my patients in Chicago. I miss them so much. So literally, I think I know all of my patients. I mean, I know all of them by name. I know their family members. I know their kids that they just had, their dogs. The thing is initially, like you get comfortable. The new patient exam it's probably the most important part of your day every day. Once you get comfortable in production and you don't have to think, like, how do I do a filling? How do I do an extraction? You don't have to focus on that anymore. Your focus is new patients, because that becomes memory. You just do it. It's easy. But that took me like a while, maybe a year and a half, to feel like I can do a procedure. Even when I do new procedures, those I have to think about a little bit, but you're just kind of confident enough where you're like, I don't have to stress about this. And when you're focused on a new patient, you can focus on them. You're not like, I have to do filling in a couple minutes. I don't know, it's so deep. I'm afraid of the nerve, blah, blah, blah. So the new patient is your job, because this is how you're going to be successful for the rest of the month and the weeks, the years. So I spend the most time, I think, with them. And obviously there's like, my office sees 7 or 8 a day. Some offices see 3, some see 15. It really depends. I mean, mine's like probably on the higher end. And there's months where it's not busy, but you get used to it. I love to talk, obviously. But yeah, I ask them, how you heard about us, if it's like their family member, we'll talk about that. Or I ask about their life. Sometimes, today I have 3 patients that had kids recently. So I'm seeing pictures and their names, and like, you have to be I'm a social person. I care about people. It's very obvious when I'm with them, and they know that, and they see that. And yeah, I don't always have a million hours to have a lot of conversations. I talk a lot when I'm doing things in their mouth. Obviously, that people always joke about that, but I do, so that they know I'm there. And every time I see them, I remember, I say hi, how's your dog, or whatever, whoever it is. And that's where the most important, the thing that people say the most about my office right now is like that feeling. I feel like I'm welcome, family practice type of thing. And that's what I want. But that's not going to be every single Aspen you ever go to. And there's days where I don't have a lot of time to talk to certain people. That's why I just hired another doctor. So now I can have more time, because I don't like being absent. I don't like quickly doing something, because I want to talk to them more, and I want them to not think that they're another number on the day, because I've heard that before, and I don't like that. And that's not how I run my practices. But I can't speak for anyone else, because we're all privately, run. So ran.
Right. But your experience, you felt though.
Oh yeah.
Maybe after a year.
All my patients.
Yeah, after a year.
Especially the ones you love. You like know everything about them.
Yeah.
And like, everyone in the office will be like, oh, hey, Brenda. Hey, Brenda. Like, every single person is the same way.
Right.
Not just me. So it helps too when your team is like that. Yep. Because, and I'm not going to sit there for 30 minutes to talk about your dog. I mean, no dentist really has time like that. That's really the truth of the statement. Like, you think of private offices, they see a certain amount of patients. They're still busy doing, I don't know if you've been to private offices, sometimes they're seeing just as many people with hygiene checks and stuff. So, you just have to juggle it, and it takes time. And there's days like, if a patient has a really long story, you're thinking like, I really got to get out of this story because this is taking so much time. But you also respect the person, and you end up just apologizing to the next one, be like, hey, thanks for being patient with me. Hope that
Yeah.
you just have to learn how to treat people, talk to them, and they end up being fine. Everything ends up being fine.
Right.
If you want to be their friend and get to know them, you can easily do it. And your hygienist will be huge on helping you do that too. So
That's awesome.
yeah, I love my patients.
That's awesome.
And there's some that you don't, and then you try to get out of them as quickly as possible. But
so I just had someone ask that you mentioned that practices are owned by different doctors. Are the patient records available at any practice? Like if the patient moves, just like you talked about, if doctors move, is that?
yeah, definitely. So I actually did receive a lot of patients from other offices, which is it's good and bad, obviously. If an office opens in an area where the patients live, the patients can come to our office, they can switch. We don't try to do that. We like to keep them with the doctor, but if they're like, oh, this is closer, or I don't like this doctor, or whatever, we can do it. We just have to go online, transfer the x-rays, and everything I can see their charts automatically.
Oh,
But
awesome.
I transfer their x-rays, and
Yeah,
it's
because it's all electronic and everything.
everything's online. We have iPads now for everything, and like our whole office is virtual. It's very cool. Patients love that. We 3D scan with the iTero every patient. I do such a detailed new patient exam, and I had 2 people say, thank you so much for going over all that. And I do talk a lot, and it's like sometimes it's like, shut up, I have to go see other patients. But it's so important to get them to fall in love with your office and your patients and you, or else if you focus on the other stuff, that's you're gonna just be not busy in the next 2 weeks. So yeah, it's really
it's accessible. Yes.
yeah, it's really easy. It's really easy. I get so caught up in a story.
We'll just stare at each other and say, wait, what word are we thinking of? So we talked a lot about COVID. We mentioned little bits and pieces here and there. Now, just to get more in depth with it, how was it with your offices? Did you have to close? What exactly happened with you?
Yeah, I mean, it was really sad because we opened December 19th. COVID hit March or whatever. It ended up costing me a little too much to stay open because I wasn't getting enough people. Plus, my office is connected to the Beaumont shopping center. So we were in the Beaumont, which is where the most cases were. And I kind of we were all like a little like freaked out because all my patients came from Beaumont. So I was like, this is probably a bad idea. So we closed down for about 6 weeks. And then once we were able to get the private loans for, since I own it privately, I was able to get help. And then I was able to open up for emergencies. And I'm telling you, I was so dang busy during COVID because no offices are open. So I was seeing people from hours, 2 hours, 3 hours away. And I promise you half of them have come back because they loved us. And they were like, thank you for taking my tooth out when I was in pain. I'm going to tell everyone I know to come here. That was like a huge thing for me. Like I said, it helped us. Unfortunately, we were open. We closed for 6 weeks, which is so weird. And I felt guilty the patients didn't have anyone to see. It was actually a terrible feeling. But I didn't have a choice. It was scary. None of us knew what to do. There was a couple some offices were able to stay open the whole time. I just didn't. I think because we were connected to Beaumont, I don't know. I had a vibe of like, maybe this would not be the best place to open because people were just coming there constantly. So I just wanted to be safe for my employees. Everyone was afraid.
Definitely.
Once we opened, I was just a couple of us. It was just one office manager, one AOM, one assistant, and then me. And then maybe we added another assistant here and there. And we were like super, super busy during that time. But then, we had to wear all the masks. It was a lot. We were wearing the N95, the gowns, the shields, this, that.
All provided by Aspen.
They shipped everything. We never were out of anything. And it was stressful. Patients were scared. That was a big thing. Staff is scared. Patients are scared. I was scared. Now I feel, I feel different about it. It feels like it's manageable. We're being really cautious. Everyone's wearing a mask always. No staff is ever without a mask unless you're in your own office, like me and by myself, or eating lunch. Like we'll all be a couple of us, but it's such a different world to work in. And it was really freaky, to be honest with you. But at this point now, it's been manageable. Yeah. And patients are feeling a little bit better to leave their homes. Some jerks will be like, I'm not wearing a mask. It's like, okay, well, this is a law that I can't change. So you cannot get your cleaning. If you want to just stay outside, you don't have to come in. So people get weird. And
so you guys have like regulations in the office. It's like you have to have a mask.
oh yeah, you can't. None of my staff, if they're seen without a mask, first of all, I can get sued immediately. I have 2 friends in other states that are getting sued because somebody was eating lunch in their office and a patient saw them without a mask, which is crazy annoying because they're in their office eating lunch. So but a patient saw them. So if a patient's in their office, you have to be like with enclosed doors or something like that privately. You can't take your mask off. You can't. People are too afraid. It's too touchy of a subject. So it's just really, you have to be smart about it.
So you guys you're doing the temperature checks?
Everyone, yeah, every day. I'm so sick of my 97.4, but every day we get checked. It makes people also feel better, even though honestly, most people don't have temperatures with COVID, but it's just one of the steps. You go through the form every day, every patient has to go through it. And now it's so everywhere you go is like that. So everyone's cool about it for the most part.
Yeah. And all Aspen offices are just making that like a regulation.
Well, so we've been really, really, really good and really safe. And I'm hoping it doesn't shut down again. If it does, I think I'm going to completely stay open because I think we'll be really busy still.
Yeah. And you're being safe.
Yeah. I would, definitely. I mean, we have so many masks that they've shipped because like for emergency ships, and I like honestly need another room to put them in. And I actually took a bunch to BOMA and helped them out a little bit in the beginning because it was like we closed for 6 weeks. I was like, I don't know what to do, and they need help. So they took a whole shipment to them. That was nice. But
that's so nice.
Yeah, I think it's insane for all of us new dentists. You know, you guys going through this now. I mean, we hope we never have to do it again, but maybe in 20 years, I don't know what's going to happen. So it's definitely a learning experience. But it also makes people appreciate you as your job, and people were always thanking me, like, thank you for your healthcare. I got free laundry, free food. It was just like insane how many people were like, you are saving us, helping us. And so that feels good to be part of like the, you know.
I've heard people being able to cut the Starbucks line, which is very important. All the healthcare workers.
It's really, people really care that we're out there trying to help other people because dental pain, we all know, is the worst pain in the universe. Imagine weeks and weeks where nobody can be seen. And of course, it's the patient who hasn't been in 12 years and that closes down. And to help them, it's like it's so emotional. And you get all these people who are like crying, thank you so much for helping me when no one else would. You know, you helped me with the financial thing and this and that. And I get super helpful sometimes. And, you know, when it comes to certain people, during a pandemic, you have to have some sort of compassion. I mean,
definitely.
That's one of the other words I wanted to say is compassion for patients is the number one thing that I look for in a person, because I think you can almost tell immediately when someone's fake or doesn't have compassion. They're just there to get their job done and aggressively. And I think that's huge. So I know like 18 different.
Nope, you're good. But I'm gonna now tie in a little bit of those 18 things. We did talk about marketing and how we have such a great call center to help us find patients. And then you mentioned being like in the Beaumont parking lot area. So with Aspen too, I just wanted to mention, you know, all of our locations are in those like big major spots, those shopping plazas where there's, you know, exactly. There's Panera, there's just big ticket like items, almost like big ticket locations. And so it's a great thing. Besides what we provide with marketing, besides our call center, it's just great store frontage for people to see, to come and see us. And that's why we do so well, along with those other things. We just provide access, and so much access to, you know, the point of where it's, I don't know, it's never going to be enough. We're just going to keep providing access.
Right. And I mean, it's definitely true too, because you know, we have the people always ask me, like, can you choose your location, or can you do this, or can you do that? But we have this like insane algorithm team of people and computer stuff. And they look through all the numbers and the demographic, the population, this, that. There's a billion things that they look at, because I challenge them. I'm just opening my second office in January. So I challenge them on
your locations. I'm sorry, you said Sterling, or you have Royal Oak.
I have Royal Oak, 13 Mile Woodward. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the area. And then opening a new one on 15 Mile, or in Van Dyke between 15 and 16 starting January.
Nice.
So, yeah, hopefully.
You were saying you're challenging them.
I was like, is this the best spot? Like, I need to know, because I knew 13 Woodward. I grew up in Michigan in Bloomfield Hills. I know this location. I grew up down the street. I know this is a hot spot. That's why I moved from Chicago, honestly, because that's the spot. You know, I thought I can have one of the most successful practices in this country on 13 Mile Woodward, I think, personally.
Yeah.
And so far we're doing well.
Yeah.
And then the next location, there's an Aspen 5 miles away. So I was challenged. I was like, I don't understand why you would do this. And they're like, trust the system. Like, I don't trust you guys because I want to know why. And I go, we're opening during a pandemic too. Like, that's a little crazy. He's like, there's so much demand and the calls are on an all-time high. This one office cannot handle it. We need another office. Like, that's just the gist of it. And I was like, and they basically, I was just talking to one of the director, John, today. They didn't really make it an option. They're like, you're the only one that can support this. You're doing great. We want you to open a second office. Sounds good. And I was like, let me think about it. And I mean, I didn't have to think about it. This is my goal, is to just try to open as many as I can and train the teams to do a well and good job and treat people well. So yeah.
And
so
you're doing a great job. I mean, I've heard
you.
great things.
It's a lot of work. Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't do much outside of work. I mean, I guess like a work-life balance is in the beginning of your career though. Like for me right now, I don't have kids. I'm not married. I can focus on work and just do what I need to do in the next couple of years. And then, you know, I can slow down once everything is, you know, I'm young now. It's great. Over time, I don't want to work like this forever. That's really the goal. That's why I'm doing this. So, yeah.
Yeah. So do you see patients being an owner?
Yeah, I see all the patients. I was the only one.
Like, a lot of people say, do these owners work? Do they?
So hopefully, after I have, I mean, if the goal is a couple offices, you're the owner. You'll always want to go in and train and help. And if my goal is to plant implants in all my offices, do the Invisalign and Botox in all the offices, and then, you know, maybe once a week go in each office. That's the goal, future goal, like down the road. But you know, you don't want to work. I don't want to work for, you know, 40 something hours a week every day running around the office for the rest of my life. But I can bust my butt now. We're young and this is the time to learn and like use my skills and do as much as I can. And people sometimes come out of school and they're like, I don't, you know, work 4 days a week, or I want to work, which is 4 days is fine if you work hard. I mean, I did that every other week in Chicago, but you know, you don't want to do 6 days every week because you're going to drain yourself. And it's a lot of mental work. So bust your butt. Get where you need to be in life, and then like hopefully you can relax and enjoy vacations every couple months when you get to, you know, a good spot. So I
remember when did I meet you at last year, and you were, you know, ready, and you still are, you know, to keep it going and opening up. You didn't have your practice yet.
What'd you say?
Yeah, you didn't have your practice yet. Now you have it. You know, it's a great, you know, journey.
Yeah, it's been amazing, honestly. I couldn't imagine. I would never be able to run my own private practice by myself right now at this caliber. Like, no way in hell. I don't know. No way in heck. It's just so much stuff that as a young business person, like I'm running the business aspect for sure. That's a huge thing that I do, and that's why it's successful. But the payroll and like the small stuff that's scary to owners, you know, like, you know, we have the support. Like if I'm dipping, they're going to help you. There's no reason that they don't want you to fail. That's what I had. So I spoke with the CEO a couple of years ago, and I was like, well, are you sure this ownership thing? He's like, why would I want you to fail? Like if you fail, then I fail. Yeah. And I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes for you to succeed, we'll be doing, you know, I'm here for you. And there's him, Bob Fontana, and there's this person, and there's like a layer of people, but you can get to that top person once in a while, just if you need something, you know, there's all these people that want you to succeed. And there's a lot of dentists out there, but there's not a lot of great dentists out there. I know I don't know if I can say that, but there's so many people that I hear stories of this patient had this experience and this crazy stuff. And I'm like, holy moly, like if you're just treat people well, you're going to be successful. You know, the dentistry, practice, you'll get better and better and better. Don't be worried about that right now. I mean, that's your own worry to get better at that, but that will come with time. You just got to treat people really, really well and be nice to them and explain things to them and comfort them, and you're going to do amazing.
Yeah. One last question. This is not a dentistry related one. Outside of dentistry, who are you? What do you like to do?
Oh, okay. Well,
just to close this down,
yeah, just sort of chill stuff. So well, I'm 29, about to turn 30 soon. I'm kind of a little nervous about that. In Chicago, I had a lovely life, social life. Got a little bit turned down once I moved back to Michigan, but I live downtown Birmingham. I'm close to all the restaurants. I go out with my friends. I exercise every day. Now that I walk to the gym in the morning. I like to get myself healthy and feel good. Once I have that energy and I feel good, I can do anything all day. I like to enjoy life. I like to cook, and I go out enough where I'm enjoying it, but I know I need rest, because to talk to patients all day, yes, you need mental sleep. Definitely. I need to sleep 7 hours. That's just me, 6-7 hours. But I have fun. I mean, quarantine got me drinking a little more wine than I should be drinking.
That's why this is a wine session.
But no, it's so important to relax when you can. Like on a Friday at 2:00, my brain just shuts off, and I usually go to happy hour, and then or like to the gym, and then you have to enjoy yourself. I always tell you, work too hard to not enjoy this stuff. So, and I really focus on getting your body strong, because I actually just started physical therapy because I've been working something hard, but no, I'm kidding. But just on posture, ergonomics, like we joke about it when we're stressed, we just do cheat things and we mess up our backs and our necks. So getting strong, it's really important to be healthy, because I've interviewed some people. Actually, I'm not gonna say that, but anyway, the point is it's really, take care of yourself mentally, physically. Helps a lot.
Perfect.
Yeah,
that's great advice.
I'm more fun in person than when I talk about work.
No, you're just as fun. But that was perfect. You actually gave some advice. I was going to ask if you had any advice, and
take care of yourself. Treat yourself. Like if you're tired, don't go. If you're gonna, your brain is gonna go through a lot the next year or two. If you're I don't know if you're all fourth years. I don't know how that works, but your first year out, you're learning so much every day. It's like, give yourself a rest and relax and pamper yourself. Do what you need to do. It's a hard job. Which I know there's a lot of hard jobs out there, but that's just what we deal with. And I mean, it's not like neurosurgery or whatever, but it's a physically hard job, and people constantly need you to comfort them. They hate being there. They're in pain. So just be nice to people.
Yeah.
And treat them well, and you'll enjoy it, because people will be really happy to meet you and to help them. They're like going to cry, I cry all the time with my patients. So you can go on my Instagram if you want. 6 of you. Dr. Nunu, I think it is.
Yeah.
You tagged me on it. Yeah. I have a couple before and afters, and those were all people who cried to me. And it's so rewarding. I tell my brother, I put on my Instagram, I was like, oh, it's a life-changing thing. He goes, that's so dramatic of you. I was like, you don't understand. These people haven't smiled or eaten food in 10 years without having pain. Like, this is life-changing stuff. And to be able to help them, and I got a letter in the mail. This guy, I did 12 crowns on all of his front, and he does it because of my daughter. He's like, I want to smile for my daughter. And I get goosebumps every time I say stuff like that, because it's emotional.
Yeah. And
I get to help this person's child see their dad smile. You don't get that everywhere.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of jobs that are amazing. We're lucky to be in this profession, even though it's tough, difficult. A lot of days you want to cry and be like, why do I do this to myself? And then you have those patients who are like, well, this is what I do, because I can make a difference.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, the passion is, and people see when you care, and people care when you care.
Yeah.
You want your doctor to care about you.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. I just wanted to thank everyone that tuned in. I want to give a special thanks to Dr. Natalie Saman for answering all of your questions If there are some that I didn't answer, I'll go ahead and email you. But you do have my contact information, so feel free to email me any questions, any further questions you may have, or if you want to, we do shadowing opportunities, or if you have any questions for Dr. Saman, I can forward them
Shadow
to
me.
her. Yeah, exactly. Come shadow her and just get to know her and Aspen and see if it's something you'd like to join and be a part of. So
Sure.
we'd
You
love
don't
that.
really know until you
And
see it.
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say you don't really know until you see like
Yeah,
how it goes.
exactly. So again, you have my contact info and I can get you in touch with her anytime. And I just thank you again for tuning in and we'll all be in touch. Thanks, Dr. Sman.
Yep. Thank you guys. Good luck with everything.
Bye, everyone.